Hello and welcome back to the Eastman Sport Report. I'm your host, Max Eastman, joined here by my co-host, Steven Eastman.
Hello, everyone. How you doing there, Max?
We've been gone for a while, to be honest. I think about 2 months now.
Yep.
We took
a break after doing two podcasts in a row.
Yeah, we did. We took a break after doing 2 podcasts in 1 week because we were feeling good, and then I kind of went to the hospital.
Little things like that.
Just little things. Anyway,
he just wanted to take a ride in the ambulance for $6,000.
Yeah, it was fun.
He had to go from Roseville to downtown Sacramento in an ambulance. It
was fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. And I had stuff going on too. So you're like, hey, yeah, but we're back.
We're back. We're better than ever. Rejuvenated.
So we're going to do the next 3 weeks. We'll be doing podcasts, and that will conclude season 1 of the Eastman Sport Report.
Then we might take I'm going to say 1 or 2 week break for from season 1 to season 2.
I think it might be 3 or 4 because we have a family vacation coming up in the second half of July, so it'll probably be around either beginning of August or right around the beginning of August when we come back, so we start season 2. So Niners training camp will be in going there, and so we can talk.
Free agency will be crazy by then.
Yeah, well, we have the this week we're going to do a whole bunch of recap of stuff we've missed for Niners and Kings news. Do a whole bunch of draft stuff. Next week, we'll do a post-draft pre-free agency thing. We'll talk more than just Kings on that one. And then we'll have a post-free agency one week later than that. And maybe a little bit of Summer League. We'll see how stuff is going with that and see if that's anything exciting to talk going on in Summer League. And that'll be the conclusion for season 1.
We're going to try to make this more fun in season 2.
Yes, we have some ideas, so stay tuned. We're not going to tell our audience what we're doing, but we are going to have fun with season 2 and upgrade a few things. So
anyway, moving on, let's start with what we have a little bit less stuff to talk about because it's been going on for a long time. Mm-hmm. What's happened with the Niners since we've been gone?
Well, they've had some OTAs. They had the mandatory ones, and then before then was the optional ones.
Christian McCaffrey got on the cover of Madden 25.
Hey, and Max really wants Madden 25. If anybody wants to contribute.
It comes out on my birthday, so I think it's just destiny.
And he does have a McCaffrey is the Niners jersey he has. So
I think it's destiny.
He seems it is. We'll see who can afford that and how that actually happens.
You're the one with a job, so... Anyway. Brandon Ayuk drama, kind of.
I'd much rather talk about Ricky Pearsall looking good in OTAs, but of course, if your rookie doesn't look good in OTAs...
You made a mistake.
Yeah, so, and then, I was reading to Max an article about, is it Garendo, our 4th-round running back, and, how awesome he is, and you're like, okay. Again, if you don't look really good in OTAs, yeah, you made a mistake. So everybody should be looking good in OTAs and wow, this is exactly what we expected. You're like, yeah, he should be. So the real stories start happening when pads go on in training camp. Mm-hmm. So
I forget exactly what player it was, but I remember we had one wide receiver. I know his number was 18 from a couple of years ago, and he was looking really good in training camp, and he comes out and we never use him in the season.
Is that Danny Gray?
No, it's not Danny Gray.
Because Danny Gray,
I know he signed a football that I had. We went to training camp.
Oh, Dante Pettis.
Him.
Dante Pettis.
Dante Pettis. The Dante Pettis hype train that everyone was on, and then I think he played 2 downs the entire season. So
did he even? We'll have to look that up. Did he even catch a football?
I don't.
Did he even have a reception on the Niners?
I don't know if that was the year we drafted Trey Lance or not.
No, it was before then.
Okay, it was the year before.
Yeah, it was the year before then.
Anyway.
If not 2 years before then, because I think he was a first-round pick in 18.
Anyway.
Yeah, he was a mistake. I mean, yeah. But the next year they got Bosa.
So he was needed.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk drama, he is staying, he isn't staying, he's making a fit out of something. What's happening with him?
Well, I'm always an optimist. And so I look at the news and you're like, okay, there's some things coming out and saying the biggest thing is he doesn't have a contract, right, that he hasn't signed. He hasn't signed his extension, and he's going to get paid. But one report comes out and says he's not happy. And then he comes out with, he's actually said something on a podcast. It's like, I always want to be a Niner. I like being a Niner, and I want to be a Niner. And then he comes back like a week later or something like that.
He says that the Niners don't want him, which doesn't make sense to me.
But then I heard, was it Schefter saying something about, well, the Niners are saying not by their words they don't want him, but the money they're offering him, they don't want him. So I think it's like nuances. I think it's just negotiation through the media. It's kind of like what happened with Mike Brown. Like, we got a contract extension, but for a week there, it looked like some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, that was a weird time to be a Kings fan. It's like, what do you mean we're not bringing Mike Brown back?
Yeah. So I think Brandon Ayuk's a little bit more blown up than that. Like, when Deebo Samuel went through this 2 years ago, there was so much stuff going on. And it's like, the biggest thing is, will he have a contract by season 2 of the Eastman Sport Report, training camp starts? Like, that's going to be the big thing, is does he have a contract here on, we're recording this on July 22nd? Like, who really cares? Now, if he hasn't not signed one by August 22nd, there's a problem. July 22nd, we're probably even good. Like, let's say August 1st, he needs to be in camp. Anyway, I wouldn't get too worried about it.
I feel like part of it is that the Niners are trying to pay him less money because they know that based on the quarterback market, they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy so much money.
Yeah.
Now, as a person who believes Brock Purdy is a good man, I think he's going to take the Tom Brady approach that Brady took during his Super Bowl run of taking less money so then they can build a good team around him. However, the quarterback market's going to keep shooting up as Brock Purdy keeps getting paid thousands, not millions, thousands of dollars to play quarterback. So...
Well, did you hear the report out that some owners want to ask the NFL for a salary cap?
For specifically quarterbacks. Yes. I think it's against the spirit of the game because
I think they're looking at the NBA and you have max contracts and say that it can't be above, I don't know, take your thing, 25% of the cap.
They should, if they want to do something like that, they should have max contracts like for the NBA. But they should also have it for more than just quarterbacks. Like if you have a really good defensive end like Fred Warner or Drake Greenlaw that you want to pay a lot of money, but you don't want to pay them so much money that you don't have backups.
Yeah, and the other idea is once you define a max contract, then just about every quarterback's going to get the max contract.
Yeah.
And in some ways, maybe the owners want that so that it's really easy to negotiate with your star quarterback. Hey, you want to sign a contract in 2028? Your contract is this. We love you so much, we'll pay you the max.
Yay.
And we don't have to worry about, is it going to be 50? Is it going to be 51 million or something like that? In some ways it could be good because, when is an NFL quarterback going to make $100 million in a season?
I'd say give him a few years.
Well, if you're talking about contract money, have you heard that the way the salary cap is going up, if it goes up in the NBA, so going back for the NFL, NBA, if it keeps going up 10% every year, which since they have new TV money coming in soon, it's supposed to go up 10% every year for a couple years. If it continues on that trend, if you get a super max contract and you sign it 2027, 2028, by your last year, you'll be making almost $100 million a season to play NBA basketball.
That's a lot of money.
So, if quarterbacks right now what's Trevor Lawrence, why is he number one? He got over $50 million a year.
And also, it's kind of funny. I told you about this before. Apparently, he took lower than they offered him because he was being humble in quotation marks. Buddy, no.
You got the biggest contract ever, and I'm being humble?
I think that once C.J. Stroud gets off his rookie contract, he's going to be one of the first quarterbacks to get $100 million. Because he was just a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to get a contract extension in 2 years, right?
No, he was a first-round pick, so he'll have 5-year contract that you start off with as a first-rounder. So he'll either get an extension after his 3rd or 4th year. So it could be 2 or 3 more years before he gets an extension. I think it could be 3 more years. Anyway.
A lot of money problems. So I think that the Niners are bracing for the future of we're going to have to pay so many people, man.
Yeah, and I wonder, next offseason what that's going to mean. So, okay, we've done 10 minutes on random stuff here. Are we ready to jump over review our NBA playoff picks?
Sure.
Is there any sort of things you want to talk about before we review our picks, Max, on the NBA playoffs?
I want to say before we go through this, I looked at statistics, and Devin Booker before the playoffs or in the regular season has a 8-1 record against Anthony Edwards.
But they didn't play each other. Oh no, they did. Sorry. Duh.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's not.
It's not like I said the Suns were going to win that series. Who would say that?
Yeah, I don't know. yeah. Okay, so what we did for points. So if you go back to listen to our podcast when we did that and gave predictions, we did write it down.
Like 2 months ago.
Yeah, everybody remembers that. Come on. So we did write it down. What we're doing is we gave points for if Max said the Cavs 1-6. I said a bad example. Let's say if Celtics in 5 in the first round over the Heat.
Uh-huh.
So if the Celtics got the team right, you get 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you got the team right and the number of games right, you get a second point. So it's possible 2 points. So Max predicted correctly Celtics in 5 in that round. So he got 2 points for that. So that's what we're going around.
Anyway, so how did I do Western Conference wise?
Western Conference.
Just ignore the points for now. Just say it.
Oh, well, you got 6 points.
Okay.
You correctly predict the Mavs would go to the finals.
Nice.
But you said in 6 instead of, was it a sweep or 5?
I think it was 5.
Yeah. So, that was 5. So, anyway, so you got that. So, you got 6 points in the West.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to jump over to me in the West, I got 7 points in the West.
Okay, what did we get wrong?
Okay. Let's see. Me, I got wrong. The first round, I predicted all the teams correctly. Really, the only time I got some people who won the series wrong was all Denver Nuggets. So the Denver Nuggets lost in the second round to the T-Wolves. I got that wrong. And then I said the Nuggets were going to go to the finals, and I got that wrong. So I got 2 series wrong. Max got the Suns beating the Timberwolves. Anyway. And then he got.
We already talked about it. You don't have to mention it again.
He got the Nuggets wrong, so he got 2 series wrong. But I had a couple that I predicted ones, so he got 6 points. I got 7 in the West.
Nice.
Okay, going to the East. Max got a total of 10 points in the East.
I did really good in the East.
Yes, you did. You picked it 3 times. You picked the correct team. Actually, if you include the finals. You got 4 times you picked the team right and the number of games they would win in.
Mm-hmm.
The only time you got one wrong, actually got 2 wrong, was when Milwaukee would beat Indiana. So Indiana busted Max's perfect bracket. And then you said the Knicks would beat the Pacers, and the Pacers, got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. So the Pacers broke him up. So again, Max had 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do as good in the East.
Oh, can I just say something?
Yes.
I'm so proud of Halliburton.
I am too. I love me some Halliburton.
Mm-hmm. I hear some things that some Kings fans are mad at him and like, what did he do? Anyway.
I mean, we got some bonus out of it, so.
What did Halliburton do against us?
Yeah.
Was it the Players Union article that we read that Halliburton wrote about getting traded?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think it was Players Tribune or something like that.
No, Players Tribune.
So I think it was something like that. And he was so devastated.
Yeah.
I know. So
I miss him. If he could have stayed, I would have kept him. However, we have Sabonis now. So
yeah.
Thank you, Halliburton. I wish you the best. See you in the finals one day.
Yes, hopefully we do.
Anyway, continue.
In the East, I was not as good. I only got 4 points in the East. So I got a total of 11. Max got a total of 16.
What did you get wrong in the East?
I said the Magic would beat the Cavs. That one was wrong. I said Milwaukee would beat the Pacers.
Uh-huh.
I said the 76ers would beat the Knicks. And then I said the 76ers would beat the Bucks.
You said Joel Embiid was going to get out of the second round.
I did say Joel Embiid was going to get out of the second round. He was not even healthy in anything, so I guess he played maybe 1 or 2 games.
Hold on. Let me see if this picks it up.
Thanks for... Hey, I'm trying to say Joel Embiid's eventually going to win something.
I don't think he is. He's not built for it.
Okay.
He's built out of glass and tissue paper.
The process is paper. If he's the process...
Uh-huh.
It's a paper process.
It's a paper airplane.
Yeah.
That's not built right.
So good job, Max. You won our predictions because he totally dominated the East.
And I got the finals right. I said the Mavs and the Celtics were going to get there.
Yes.
I said in 5.
And you said Celtics in 5, so you got that completely correct. I said Celtics in 7, so we both did
With
pick
the Nuggets.
And with the Nuggets. So, yes, I picked the right team winning, but I said Denver. And that's the funny thing is I think the biggest thing about this playoffs, it's so much about matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at total matchups, like, why did Oklahoma City lose to the Dallas Mavericks? It's because they couldn't stop Luka and Kyrie. They had a better team, and I think in the future, with the Thunder getting more experience, they might be able to beat Dallas. But it's all about matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I think Denver would have played the Mavs in the finals for the Western Conference, I think Denver would have won.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's matchups where the Denver was having problems with Timberwolves, but then the Timberwolves couldn't play Dallas. So it's like it's so matchups, and that was the story of and the Celtics just being dominant. They're a bad matchup for everybody. So that's my story for the playoffs. So congratulations to Boston. They break the tie with the Lakers by winning 18 NBA championships.
Always good to see the Lakers lose.
Yes, it's always good to see the Lakers getting talked bad about. I sure wish the Kings had 18 NBA championships, but at least we got one.
We have more than 0.
When they do the graphic or something like that showing who's all won NBA championships, the Kings logo does show up.
It's always funny when people are like, "What? No."
Yep, 1951.
Heck yeah.
Rochester Royals.
With who was it?
Is it?
Oh, it was the guy with number 11.
Yeah, Sam. I don't know if Sam Vecini's a writer. Sam. I'll have to look it up.
Number 11, who we just unretired. Don't know exactly how it works. For Sabonis.
Yeah.
Gave permission to Sabonis to unretire his jersey number. Mr. whatever his name is. Thank you for your service.
Yes. Anyway, I might look that up and eventually bring that up to you.
Okay. Let's talk about Kings offseason. First off, I want to get this out of the way. Sigh of relief for Malik Monk.
I would love to go. I could sing for everybody, but that's not my calling. So I will not sing the Hallelujah chorus. That's my feeling on Malik Monk re-signing. I am so stoked about that.
I thought he was gone. I thought there was no way he was staying.
Yeah, I did not think he was going to stay either. It's funny how that I listened to some other reports afterwards where it's like some people were saying like Detroit and Charlotte were going to give him like $100 million.
And he said no.
Well, and he said that post exit interviews, and he said, there might be more money out there, but I want to win. So it's like the only other place that really had money that was Orlando. I think that was always the biggest. I didn't think he was going to go to Detroit. He's not going to go to Charlotte. Actually, Charlotte drafted him, so that'd be funny if he went back.
Didn't Charlotte trade him?
Well,
they cut him.
Well, because his contract was up after 4 seasons, and they didn't re-sign
because he
him.
didn't do good in Charlotte.
Yeah,
until he got to play with his best friend De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, so I think that's why he's
happy to be here.
Yeah. Number 11 for the Rochester Royals, who helped us win our one championship. Oh no, he made the Hall of Fame in 1970. His name was Bob Davies.
Bob Davies?
Yep, Bob Davies.
Thank you, Bob Davies.
Thank you for letting the Davies family. I don't think Bob is still alive. Davies family approved Sabonis to wear number 11. So that's other Kings news. Sabonis will be wearing number 11. So my Sabonis number 10 jersey will be
outdated.
Yeah.
When season 2 of the Eastman Sport Report comes out, coming at you August sometime.
Sometime in August. Maybe you'll be able to see us with our Kings jerseys, or maybe it'll be Niners jerseys to August. Anyway,
depends.
You'll see.
Okay. What else did we talk about? Mike Brown stuff?
We could talk briefly. Any other thoughts?
I felt like it took too long, and it was a really weird time. Was it Vivek? I think it was Vivek trying to do stuff, because I don't think Monte is a guy who really likes the slow burn for his process. And I think Vivek didn't see us get more money because we didn't make the playoffs. So he went, you know what? we should not have Mike Brown come back, which is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Why not bring back the first ever unanimous coach of the year? Money.
Well, yeah. So
that's my opinion why it happened. Glad he's back. Glad that he got taken care of. It was really confusing when it was happening. Didn't make any sense when it was happening.
Yeah, that week where he was not there or when it was in question, you're like,
what are we doing?
Well, my biggest thing was, and this guy, I heard other people in the media talk about this, was you had better re-sign him before Malik Monk has to make a choice. Because would Malik Monk re-sign if Mike Brown did not have an extension?
Okay. Sigh of relief for Malik Monk. Sigh of relief for Mike Brown. And now for the fun stuff. I don't want to do draft stuff just yet.
Okay.
Because you're going to take care of that.
Yes.
Because you're a big draft guy. Who are in free agency or trade-wise do you think the Kings should go after? Because I have three or four names that I'm thinking of. There are two that I really want. One of them is really unrealistic. And there's
via trade or via free agent?
Trade.
Oh,
definitely.
Okay.
There are two that I really want. One that's really unrealistic out of those two, and one that I'm okay with. The other one I don't want because I don't think he's gonna be good.
Okay. What's your thoughts?
Who do you want me to start with?
You lay it on who.
Okay.
Do you want to go in order of your preference?
Okay, I'll start with my unrealistic expectations. I want Paul George. I know it's not going to happen, but I want it to happen.
And I don't want it. I do not want Paul George.
You can be like that.
That's okay. We can disagree. We don't have to agree on everything.
We would be a much better team with Paul George on our team. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the Clippers aren't going to do that because they're not going to trade away Paul George for Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes. But that's all we're
going to.
And
he's technically a free agent, so they'd have to do a sign and trade.
Yeah.
Which I think
I don't.
The Clippers over the cap and maybe over the 2nd April, so they may not be able to do a sign and trade.
Anyway, my other player that I really want, which I think is more realistic, is Lauri Markkanen. I think he's the perfect supportive star. Like how I can't think of anyone right now. Whatever.
But if you need a third star on the Kings.
Lauri Markkanen would be a great player. He's a great assister, a defender. He's just all-around great player. He's just not extremely good from shooting range.
No, actually, he's pretty good from three-point range. He's a really good corner three, so I think he can space the floor. He's not awesome at defense. He's good. He's probably slightly above average. He's long, but he's not an amazing athlete to be a great defender. And he's I don't know about a shot blocker. He's not.
But I think he would be a great player for the Kings.
Oh yeah, totally.
He would be the perfect third star if Keegan Murray doesn't show up in that role. And I think, personally, for me, Malik Monk needs to stay a sixth man, because he's really good. But but what he brings from the bench is irreplaceable, and I don't think anyone else can bring what Malik Monk does from the bench. And my other player that
can I bring one more thing about Markkanen?
Okay.
So if I'm going to talk about Markkanen is my number one target as well, and I have seen some recent articles that Markkanen may be available because Danny Ainge likes to tank and get draft picks, and next year's draft is supposed to be really good, so it might be the perfect time to go and get him. Now the other thing is when you trade with Danny Ainge, in charge of the Utah Jazz, you look at the Rudy Gobert and
how many draft picks do you need to give up to him?
Exactly. You might have to give up like 3 future first-round picks to get Lauri Markkanen.
And if that's a win-now move, like how the Timberwolves did, and it's worked out for them. They got to the Western Conference Finals.
So, and the other thing is he's actually on like you might only not paid a lot, so you just might have to trade like Harrison Barnes and maybe one other player, maybe Donovan Mitchell, so he's kind of a future player type of thing for them.
Yeah.
Right now, and then like a 2027, 2029, 2031 draft picks. But I would say, how many first-round picks would you trade for Lauri Markkanen, Max?
I would trade 2 firsts and 2 seconds.
Okay.
Because if you're trading them 2 players as well, that's how many I would do. Then again, if this is the win now move that we really need to make, I would do 3 firsts and 2 seconds.
Oh, I would do no more than 2 firsts.
Okay.
You could throw in a second. I really don't care how many seconds you give him. But, I wouldn't say give him 5, but, I would not go. There was a trade recently, I think last summer, that somebody gave like 5 second-round picks for somebody.
And you're like, huh? Weird. Anyway.
So, if 2 first-round picks got you Lauri Markkanen,
great.
I would take it. I would not give up 3.
Okay.
I don't think he's that good.
My last name, or second to last name, I want to say, that is I'm fine with this type of name, is Zach LaVine. I think he's just a worse Lauri Markkanen, to be honest. Does that make sense?
I get where you're coming from, but I understand what you're saying, but I do not want Zach LaVine. Sorry. I am out on Zach LaVine.
I don't want I'm
Zach
okay
LaVine. With
him if we get him. I'd rather have other players like we said. Lauri Markkanen is really good, and we really want him. But if we did get Zach LaVine, I wouldn't be extremely upset.
Well, the bad thing is with Zach LaVine is he's going to make in one of the years of his contract like $50 million.
I know,
and he's not worth it in my opinion.
Okay,
like there is if he was making $20 million. Sure, I'll take him. But 50, you're like, no, do not want him for $50 million. You'd have to gut so much of our team just to get him that he's not worth it. He's totally not worth it for me.
Okay, you have your strong opinions about him.
Yes, I do. Go
okay,
ahead.
and I think he'd be good. I think if we could get him for a lot less, I think he'd be a really good player to come off the bench with Malik Monk, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to be paying for us to trade so much for him and then just put him on the bench. And he's also kind of a similar archetype to Malik Monk, being the high-flying, aggressive player that he is. But I think that if we do get a star, this is the one that'll be like, okay, sure, go ahead, Monty McNair. I trust you on this. And the last player that I just don't want, and I hear so many people talking about, because we talked about him before we got Sabonis, is Kyle Kuzma. I just don't want him, man. I don't know if it was just him being on the Wizards or not, but that guy is stunk.
Well, in my opinion on Kyle Kuzma is he's a slight upgrade over Harrison Barnes. But last summer, the Kings were supposedly interested in him, and he chose to stay in to lose. Basically, he went back to Washington knowing that it's you and Jordan Poole. You're like, that's not going to
Jordan Poole, who slips on his own sweat in the middle of the game and flops on the floor.
You're like, you were not going to win. And he chose that. He didn't choose to win.
Oh,
so
also, he was going to be traded to the Mavs, but his agent asked him if he's okay with that, and he said no because he didn't think the Mavs were going to be good.
So
he thought they weren't going to be a winning team, and then they got to the finals.
I think his contract is decent if you're looking at that. I can kind of be talked into Kyle Kuzma, but he's my 4th option.
Yeah.
Anyway, next one.
I just don't want him. Keep him away, please.
Do you have any others?
That's who I have for now. There are other smaller names that
So the other smaller
for free agency and other stuff.
The other trade out thing I want that I kind of like is Jeremy Grant from Portland. I think Portland doesn't need him. Now he does make more money than Kyle Kuzma, but I think he's athletic. He can shoot. He plays some defense. I think it'd be our Aaron Gordon type of power forward. I think he could be that way. I've heard some mixed reactions to that, but is it Willsy Stats online? He's a Sacramento Kings kind of stats guy on Twitter. He kind of liked it. He said one of the options that he liked was Jeremy Grant. The other one that's the big news is Brandon Ingram is possibly on the trading block as the Pelicans are looking to retool. So I could see. I like Brandon Ingram, except for the fact that he's got 1 year left on his contract, and he's probably going to want max money. You're like, so if I had to choose between Brandon Ingram and Lauri Markkanen, that's actually kind of a tough choice. I'd almost go Lauri Markkanen. Because he's been healthier over his career.
I think Brandon Ingram is going to be a lot more expensive to get than Lauri Markkanen is.
Because Utah's looking to tank. Pelicans want to be good. So you have to give up something that the Pelicans want to get Brandon Ingram. And I don't know if the Kings, I don't know if Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter do that. Now, the Pelicans could want Kevin Huerter because they need shooting. So, that could work. But anyway. Okay. We ready to talk NBA draft stuff? Is there other Kings?
Do you have any other names you would want to say for trade and stuff?
I think that's the four that I was looking at was Lauri Markkanen, Brandon Ingram, Jeremy Grant, and Kyle Kuzma is kind of the targets that I'm looking at. And there's plus and minus with each of them. So that's where we're at.
Okay. You want to talk about draft stuff?
Okay.
I have not been looking at this. I am not excited about this draft class. Heck yeah, man.
So I've been,
one thing that you said about when we were driving up here, you described it as a flat draft.
Yes. So after, say pick 6 or 7 range to about 20, low 22, something like that. You look at all these mock drafts. And I love mock drafts from the aspect of not who they say the Kings are picking, but it gives you a range of where people are. What are the names in that range? And you see names from some drafts have them at 7, some drafts have this guy at 22. You're they're all over the place in that range, and it's just a jumble. And if different media people have them graded different, then you know that the NBA GMs have them graded differently. So some teams might like this guy better, and then some teams like this guy better. But in that range, there's 10 to 15 names you got to look at for what the Kings are going to pick.
Who even is the first overall pick in this draft?
Well, and that's where everybody says it's a bad draft because the top end of the draft is not very good.
Because you're just I don't know, man.
I mean, if you go to The Athletic, and of course that's behind a paywall, but if you go to The Athletic, and they just put out their athletic draft guide, was it yesterday or a couple days ago? And they draft him, and he says, this is by Sam Vecini, and he said, in all the times I've been doing this, and this draft guide is huge. If you guys have The Athletic and go download it, it's a huge document. I'm trying to look how many pages it is. It's so many, I can't even look. Anyway, he drafts them as draft 1 through 8. He has different 1 through 8 tiers. He has no one in tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 3 he considers high level starters. Tier 4 is a starter, maybe all-star level swings, maybe he can get there. Tier 5 is rotation players and upside swings. And then 6 is second round guarantees, 7 is a priority 2-way, 8 is 2-way stashes, exhibit 10s. And so he's listing as top 100 or something like that. So there's people that aren't going to get drafted in here. But that's his tiers, and totally. He has no one in tier 1 and tier 2.
Zilch, nada.
Yeah. So there's tons of names that are tied to the Kings. If I look at a consensus mock draft and I just look at one of the names here.
There's a consensus?
Well, they call consensus as it's more of a summary.
Yeah.
Let's call it that way. It's a summary mock draft. So USA Today says the Kings are going to pick a guard, Devin Carter. Okay.
Well, as we said before we got here, a lot of people said that Kings are going to draft a guard because we need a replacement for Malik Monk. Well, now we don't.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Devin Carter supposedly is a name that is shooting up draft boards. People like him. He's a little bit older. So he does kind of fit the Monty McNair type of pick. Another one is Nikolaj Topic. He's a point guard from Serbia. I think he's 6'5". He does have a sprained ACL, so he's not going to play this year. And so he's actually going down the draft board, so now he's actually in the Kings' range. I think teams more like in front of him, like Oklahoma City, or who's right after us? Is it Spurs? No, I forget. Charlotte. Somebody's right next. Anyway, I forget who's right after us.
The Warriors.
Portland. Like they have 14 because they got it from the Warriors. The Warriors don't have a pick.
Yeah.
I don't even think they have a second-round pick.
Yeah.
ESPN recently has Ron Holland. He's actually they listed here as a guard. He's more of a forward. From G League Unite.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come back to him. Bleacher Report has Khalil Ware, a center from Indiana.
Okay.
And I've seen him like listed. This is actually a new name in the area. So that's it there. So there's lots of guards. And if you just name them out, there's Devin Carter, Jared McClain.
Yep.
Jared McClain is actually really good from Duke, but he's 6'1". He can shoot the ball from 3.
But he's just a little guy.
He's 6'1". Like
he's my height.
yeah, he's your height. He can shoot way better than you can.
That's not the point here, Dad.
But like you have Fox's like 6'3", 6'4". You have Davion Mitchell about that size. You got Monk who's not really tall. We don't need a guard that's 6'1". Please do not draft a guy under 6'5". Anyway, so Jared McClain's small. Another one is Tijon Salouin. He's from France, so there's like 3 French names in here. He's actually one that possibly could be for the Kings. He's a little bit younger, but he actually can shoot, and he actually has a little bit of size. I'm looking at one consensus mock draft has him right at 14, so he possibly could be available for the Kings, but again, all over the place. Ron Holland, I said I'd come back to him. The 2 names that I fell in love with first that I'd love for the Kings to draft is Ron Holland and Cody Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I love Cody Williams. They're both forwards. They're both about 6'8", 6'7", 6'8".
Nice.
So they're exactly the size the Kings want. They're athletic forwards, length. That's exactly what the Kings want and need. I've heard Cody Williams was in the Kings' range, and now every mock draft has him up around 6 or 7. So, again, that's kind of in the range of he's possibly in there. I would love the Kings to get Cody Williams. He's actually a brother of one of the Jalen Williams from Oklahoma City, younger brother.
Okay.
So he's actually, got some pedigree of being, type of thing. That's like my dream is the Kings could get Cody Williams. Ron Holland, I like. He actually was falling down, and like ESPN has him here getting to the Kings at 13. So he's 6'7", super athletic, great defensive player. Coming out of high school, so last year, a year ago this time, he was the number 1 player in this draft class.
Okay.
But he's falling down because he played for the G League Unite, and they had a horrible season, and he didn't shoot as good as stuff was. And the G League didn't have many point guards, and so he had to create.
Okay.
And he didn't do a good job at that. So the people are like, well, did he not play good on G League Unite? But he still led the G League Unite, and he led them in points. He was like their best player.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, they say he turns the ball over a little too much. And he has some other things, like he's a great slasher. He's got to work on his shooting. So, he's great defensively. So I could still see, and he's younger. So Ron Holland is not your traditional Monty McNair, Halliburton, Davion Mitchell type of draft pick.
Yeah.
So I could like him, but I don't think the Kings would pick him, but I think I could go there. The other ones I like is, again, Tijon Salouin. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. From France, he does have size. Small forward type of thing.
It's a lot harder than Victor.
Trista da Silva. He played for Colorado. He's okay defensively. He shot, had some really good games in the NCAA tournament. He's like 6'8", something like that. And he can shoot like crazy. And he had some games in the NCAA tournament where he just was lights out from 3-point range. So, Trista da Silva is actually a name that I think the Kings could pick. Ron Holland, I kind of like him. There's some good. I love his defense, but he's not really a Monty McNair type, and he's not going to be good for the 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Trista da Silva, he could come in and play right now. There's some others in the range, though, that we could go over. The one that I want to talk about is I'm very interested in him, and I think he could really fit with the Kings, is Kyle Filipakowski.
Oh, I've heard his name before.
So he was the best player on Duke. He's actually one that Charles Barkley, during the NCAA tournament, had a hard time pronouncing his name. So there's video clips of him messing up his name. But he was the best player. He's a second-year player. So he played his 1 year. He could have come out last year, and he came back this year, and he improved his game. That's why I think he is kind of Monty McNair's type of pick. but he's normally picked in the kind of 15 to 25 range. So he's kind of like just on the edge of the Kings range. Like, do you want to trade back like 5 to 10 picks to try to get him? But like, if you go back too far, would he really be available? But he's actually listed as a forward center, so he could be a backup to Sabonis. He's actually a really good ball handler, and so he's really good in dribble handoffs. Like, he's like be an awesome backup to Sabonis. And if Sabonis ever got hurt, he could step in, and the offense could still run with him as that. And he's not as good as Sabonis, of course, but he's a good passer. He's a good dribbler. He can drive on big guys. He can post up. He can actually shoot the three decently. There's some actually really good clips of like him shooting some threes, and he actually made like 1.5 threes a game last year as a big. So like, I'm intrigued.
That's pretty good for college.
I'm intrigued by Filipakowski.
That's a name to watch.
Yeah, so it's
later.
Yeah, like, I and then I was reading something about him. Like, he's like 6'10", 6'11", so he's right in the center range. He doesn't have his arms are shorter, so his wingspans is shorter than his height. But if you wanted to go like a dual big lineup, like Filipakowski could play with Sabonis and not just back him up. I think it'd be an interesting pick. So if I had to pick, like, who do I think Monty McNair would go? I could see Tristan da Silva, T. John Sullivan if he falls down there. I would love Cody Williams. I would like Ron Holland, but I don't know if what the Kings will. I think Kyle Filipakowski could be a Monty McNair type of pick. But anyway, that's some of the names that I want. I could be completely wrong. We'll find out on Wednesday. So
I got nothing for you, man.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I could go through a whole bunch of other picks.
I just know I don't want Zach Edey, and that's it.
Yeah, there's another name that keeps coming up with the Kings is Rob Dillingham. Again, he's a 6'2" point guard. Now, he's supposed to be really good, but if you need a Monk replacement, sure, let's get Rob Dillingham, but we don't need him. We don't need Jaron McClain. He's 6'2" from Duke again.
Again, we don't need little guys.
Jacoby Walters, 6'5" out of Baylor. Like, he's in that range that could be, right there. But, like, Tristan da Silva is 6'9", small forward and can shoot. That's where I think, like, if I was to bet money, that's the guy I would pick the Kings would actually draft. I don't know if I'm right. We'll find out in a couple days. So, anyway, that's the Stephen Eastman Sport Report draft preview.
You have any final predictions? Okay, give me one name. Who do you think the Kings are going to draft?
I think it's Tristan da Silva.
Okay, and who do you want the Niners Kings to draft?
If Cody Williams is available, he'd be my dream pick.
Okay.
I would love to see Cody Williams, but I do not think he's going to be available.
Got it.
The other name, let's throw out a second-round pick name. Just for the fun of it.
Sure, because we got time.
Because second-round picks are just to throw a thing on a dartboard. You just
like Nikola Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell ad.
Yeah, exactly. So there's one guy's name that I think would be completely funny. Let's say the Kings trade Kevin Huerter.
I know what you're talking about.
For Brandon Ingram.
I know where you're going with this.
Okay, so you trade Brandon Ingram. You still have Harrison Barnes. You have Brandon Ingram. And you have Harrison Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy in the second-round draft pick that actually on a few second-round picks, his name is Harrison Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Is a second-round guy. He's like a 6'8", 6'9", great defensive player.
Yeah, I heard his name. I just went, that's funny.
Like, if we could trade for Harrison or Brandon Ingram, keep Harrison Barnes, and then you have Harrison Ingram,
and have all three of them out on the court.
That would be an announcer's nightmare.
You have to have all three of them on the court at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. You have Ingram, and Barnes, but then you can't say their first names because you got a Harrison, and a Brandon, and you're like,
it's like Jalen Williams and Jalen Williams.
Exactly.
From the Thunder.
I just want us to trade for Brandon Ingram and draft Harrison Ingram would be like so fun.
I also thought you were about to mention Bronny James.
Oh, no, I don't want Bronny James.
I want Bronny James so we can have LeBron James, but that's it.
I want to see Bronny James not get picked.
I don't think he's going to get picked.
Yeah, I think he's going to pick in the second round. Somebody's going to pick him.
I don't think he's going to get picked. I think everyone's going to go, okay, you get one more year in college, buddy. Go have fun.
Oh, there is one name I forgot that I've kind of heard a lot about that he's in that range of the Kings, but he's kind of a little bit lower. Keyshawn George.
Mm-hmm.
He is like a good shooter. Again, 6'8", small forward out of Miami. Good shooter, could be good defensively. He's normally down around 21, so he's not like amazing. Like I'm looking at one draft pick right here from DraftNet. He's at 21. He's kind of in that range a little bit after the Kings, so he should be available for the Kings. He's my dark horse Kings pit is Keyshawn George.
Okay.
So there's my. I think they're going to pick Trista da Silva.
Uh-huh.
Dark
you
horse
want,
Cody Williams.
but
Dark horse is Keyshawn George. And then my intriguing pick is Kyle Filipakowski. I'm intrigued by
and Harrison Ingram.
And Harrison Ingram is my dream.
It would be the funniest thing.
That'd be the funniest thing if we can trade.
I don't
for.
think he's ever gonna play if we do draft him. However, it would be really funny.
You trade for Brandon Ingram and draft Harrison Ingram.
And the only reason you have Harrison Ingram is because you traded for Harrison.
Brandon Ingram. See, I told you. You messed
No.
up. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening to Eastman Sport Report.
We'll see you guys next time. Got a few more episodes of Season 1 coming at you for the Eastman Sport Report. See you next week for more coverage of the Sacramento Kings.